North Korea is facing its worst flooding crisis in decades. Overwhelming destruction, an unknown number of dead, a catastrophe caused by heavy rains, and human failure. Lack of planning and preparation, plenty of blame to go around. Kim Jong-un's absolute power means he can't be criticized. He's going on a rampage, punishing local officials, removing some from their posts, perhaps going even further. South Korea's spy agency says it's closely monitoring signs North Korea may have executed multiple officials over the flooding. One report put the number as high as 30, citing an unnamed South Korean official. Any numbers are nearly impossible to verify, given North Korea's extreme isolation and rejection of all outside aid.
Did you ever witness a public execution in North Korea?
When I was in middle school, I saw a soldier getting publicly executed. I went out of curiosity. I couldn't eat for several days after that.
That traumatic experience, one reason Chung Kwan Park says he ran away from North Korea 15 years ago, despite his elite upbringing. Today, he's a South Korean lawmaker.
It doesn't make sense why these public executions are still happening in North Korea. But you know, Kim Jong-un killed his own uncle.
That execution sent chills through the North Korean elite, made up of top party officials, diplomats, and senior officers. Kim's uncle, Jang Song-taek, was the second most powerful man in North Korea. South Korea's unification ministry says only around 50 elite North Koreans fled under Kim's father. That number has almost tripled under Kim Jong-un, coinciding with his crackdown on corrupt officials.
The reason for the elite defections is that in North Korea, there's fewer benefits for the elite now. Secondly, it's no secret that North Korea has a lot of problems. And thirdly, there's no hope among the young people.
Late last year, a high-ranking North Korean diplomat defected from Cuba. South Korea's foreign ministry says North Korea's been closing consulates, embassies, and offices around the world. The number of elite defections is rising, even as overall defections are down dramatically since the pandemic. The result of massively increased North Korean border security, not just to keep people out, but to keep them in.
Will Ripley, CNN.
This region was devastated by a massive earthquake on January 1st, a horrible start to the new year. And now it's reeling from what the Japanese weather agency said is the heaviest rainfall that it's ever seen. If you take a look at some of these videos, you can see entire roads and rivers have completely flooded. People are wading through these flooded homes and businesses in just waist-deep water. And if you take a look at some of these homes, they're actually temporary shelters that people evacuated to after that deadly January 1st earthquake that killed hundreds. We were actually there in Noto just a day after that earthquake, and we saw how it completely collapsed and devastated entire homes and buildings. It also caved roofs, and people were trapped underneath the rubble. Now, some of those people who were rescued were sent to these temporary emergency shelters, and when we spoke to them, they said that they didn't know when they'd get to go home because they literally had no home to return to. And now some of those very same survivors are having to deal with a second disaster just months later. Here's what one resident had to say about the double disaster.
The earthquake occurred on January 1st, and again, the city became like a scene out of a movie in September. I cannot help thinking the Noto region might be cursed or something. I'm shocked that so many unbelievable things happened in 1 year.
Israel unleashing its fiercest wave of strikes on Hezbollah targets in Lebanon in nearly 2 decades. Lebanon's health ministry says at least 274 people have been killed today alone, women, children, and paramedics among them, more than 1,000 others wounded. Israel is urgently warning people to evacuate areas where Hezbollah operates. Many residents in the south are fleeing. You see this here, the cars, the wait there, many desperate to reach safer ground. Lebanon's prime minister, meantime, asking the world to intervene, saying that Israel plans to, in his words, destroy towns and villages, accusing the country of conducting a, quote, war of extermination. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu just releasing a new message from IDF headquarters where he says he's following through on the vow he made to change the security balance in the region. Take a listen.
For those who have not yet understood, we want to clarify Israel's policy. We do not wait for a threat. We anticipate it. Anywhere, in any arena, at any time. We eliminate senior officials. We eliminate terrorists. We eliminate missiles. And there's more to come. Whoever tries to hurt us, we will hurt them even more.
Well, less than 6 weeks until Americans pick their next president, though for some that choice could come sooner, with early voting and mail-in ballots available across multiple states as of this week. The latest CBS YouGov polls show a toss-up in many of the critical swing states, which will ultimately decide the outcome of this election. Keep in mind, these 7 states alone account for 93 delegates. 270 are needed to win. With the race still neck and neck, Harris is challenging her opponent to go head-to-head after she accepted a CNN invitation for a second presidential debate on October the 23rd. Trump has said it's too late for that.